Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I want to talk about what makes a language partner great. So I want to talk about these different attributes, and today I'm going to talk about one of the attributes, which is should they also be learning languages? Should your language partner be someone that is learning a language for the first time, or should they be a veteran at learning languages? So as I'm making this video, I don't think that anyone has ever made a video about this before. Maybe it's because it's not very searched or because for whatever the reason, but I do intend to make this video anyways for people that hopefully are looking for this kind of answer, because once you're working with language partners and you're trying to practice your language with a native speaker or someone at a high level, you are going to find that some language learners are better and some are worse. And there's a trend, there's like a broad brush stroke that you can see of who is going to be better for you as a partner. So today we're going to talk about should they be learning languages as well. So obviously everyone is very different, and who I'm going to be talking about today, it's kind of like a broad brushstroke. It's going to just apply to the majority of people that I've seen. It doesn't mean everyone. If you find someone that none of this applies to and they're great, then awesome. Good for you. If not, then listen to this so you know what to look for in your next language partner. So the answer to the question, should they be learning language? The answer is yes. For the most part, they should be learning languages. And I'm going to discuss 3 points to tell you why they should be. So point number 1, yes, language partners should be, for the most part, learning other languages. Why? Because it's going to make them a better language partner, because they're going to see what works and what doesn't, and they're going to help you out. Because if someone has never learned a language, it's their first time, we've all been there, they're not going to really know what it is to be a good language partner. Should they interrupt you to correct you? Should they not? What exercises should they be doing? Should they be studying outside of the language conversations? Should they be asking you questions? Should they just be listening? Maybe they're talking too much, and that's a very big one, that they talk too much because they don't realize that this is supposed to be a practice session, not a venting session. So with that in mind, a quick little story. When I went to Belgium, I had a friend there that didn't know English that well, and I had talked to him maybe 2-3 times, and on the 4th time he told me, Michael, I understand your English so well, and I really don't understand anyone else's. I'm listening to TV all the time, I'm listening to other people that speak English, and you're the one that I'm understanding the most. But it's interesting because when you try to listen to me speak French, you don't understand me, which is very odd. How can you not understand my French, but I can understand your English so well? And I tried to explain it to him, and even after that, he didn't really understand, but I told him that when I was speaking English with him, I was enunciating everything. Every time I said something, I would talk like this. And now it's a little exaggerated, but even in normal conversation, I was that exaggerated, and he didn't even notice because he was having such a good time just understanding me. So even talking at a normal speed, I really enunciated every single vowel and letter that I talked about. There, so when I'm doing that, it almost seems like weird and odd and forced, but when you're trying to learn English, that is the best thing ever. Especially when you have other language partners. They're talking super fast, you don't know what they're really saying, and you're like, oh my god, I'm already lost. And it happens to people in Spanish all the time. When I speak to someone in Spanish that is learning Spanish, hablo así y le digo, cuando fui al restaurante y vi a mi amiga, le dije que yo estaba allí y que ella estaba aquí. Right? So you can already tell, and there'll be language partners that are speaking so fast, they're like, sí, el otro día fui al restaurante y vi que ella estaba ahí, yo que estaba aquí, y no sé, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm already lost. So already you can kind of get a flavor for how it's going to be with a language partner that understands how tough it can be to learn a language, and someone that's like, I don't know. Because one thing that is very, very, very common that happens is that when you tell a native speaker to slow down, the first minute they'll be like, okay, I'll slow down. Estaba jugando al tenis el otro día y le di a la pelota y no sé por qué. Cuando le di, salió de la pista y mi compañero me dijo por qué lo estaba haciendo y no sé por qué. And you're like, okay, we're back to the speed that's unhelpful. So That's point number one. Point number two is that your language partners will be more open to different exercises. So we always talk about on this channel about the biggest bang for your buck. What can you do to take it the furthest in the least amount of time? And this is not about hacking or quick little tips, but it's about not wasting time when you don't have to. And so I've been with a lot of language partners that maybe it's their first time learning a language and they saw maybe an article online about learning vocabulary by making little sentences with it every time, or practicing your conjugations in a weird way. And so when I get on with them and they're doing their own rules, they try to apply it to me too. So if we're doing half an hour, 15 minutes them, 15 minutes of me, they want me to do the same exercise with them. And I'm like, listen, that's great, but it's not working for me. And so a good language partner will understand that everyone has different exercises, but at a certain point, someone that's learned one language, 2, 3, they see what it takes to learn a language. So it's not like, I've never seen someone who has learned one language, 2, 3, as an adult, not going there as a kid and learning through the school system. As an adult, I've never seen them a bunch of exercises that don't really bring that much reward. I've always seen them practicing speaking, really trying to get their verbs down, and you can just tell it's on a different wavelength. Someone that is just learning their first language and someone that's learning their fourth is just on a different wavelength, and that's okay because we all start from somewhere. But you can tell that they're practicing the important stuff, not just trying to practice everything and doing weird little exercises. So the point is, if you tell your partner, I want to practice for 15 minutes, usually the people that have learned multiple languages that are already veterans will respect that time. And some of the beginners that have never learned a language before might go over the 15 minutes because they didn't realize, and it's just little mistakes that are okay, but it changes when you go with a veteran. And point number 3 is that they've thought about their own language before. Usually this is the case, right? I've had language partners in Portuguese or in French that might say, hey, why is this the way it is? And it doesn't mean that I expect them to have the answer every time, but usually native speakers that have never thought about learning a language or their own language, I might ask them a pretty simple question. They might say, I'm not sure. I don't know why it's like that. And that's totally okay, but I find that it's more helpful with people who have really thought about languages, because at a certain point you do want to get corrected by your language partner. Maybe you're so advanced that you're like, hey, I just want someone to practice with, but as a beginner intermediate, you are looking for somehow those corrections. So for the third point, it is that people who have learned languages before are more in tune with how to correct you, when to correct you. Should they correct you in the moment? Should they wait until you finish your sentence? It depends, because some language partners will never correct you and you're like, well, did I get anything right? Did I get anything wrong? Some will correct you every single word and you're like, I'm just trying to get my sentence, my thought out there. And it depends on which situation and what your level is if you should correct all the time or not as much. But I do find that having a language partner that does learn other languages just helps to be more in tune, more focused, and it helps with your language learning. So hopefully you like this video. Go ahead and hit subscribe, hit the bell icon if you want more language learning videos like this. Hopefully you found this video interesting. I never thought I would make something like this because it's so specific, but hopefully someone out there finds it helpful. Let me know in the comments if you did, what you're learning. And as always, if you want to become fluent in Spanish, go ahead and go to strangelanguageacquisition.com, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.